Many thanks for being there. We tell you now that the Nigeria Governors Forum has congratulated President Bola Tinubu and the people of Nigeria on the country's removal from the Financial Action Task Force Grey List. The NGF said the exit from the Grey List restores international confidence in the country's financial system and strengthens the foundation for inclusive growth, responsible governance and sustainable development across all tiers of government. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit on Friday announced the official exit of Nigeria from the list of jurisdictions under increased monitoring, commonly known as the Grey List. Nigeria was removed from the list by the Financial Action Task Force at its October 2025 plenary in Paris, France. To help make sense of this, we're joined by an economist, Olusesan Okunade. Olusesan, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Leka, and good evening to all our viewers across the globe.
You're welcome. So it was more or less a daunting task under the previous administration, but Nigeria is off FATF's Grey List. For you, is it a job well done?
Yeah, thank you very much. Whatever anyone wants to say, I think we need to give kudos to the administration, at least for when you talked about the image of our country, which has been a bit shaky, affecting the confidence that investors have in us. This has been one of the plus for this administration to be removed out of this FATF Grey List, which definitely impose some confidence in us. So it's a good thing, if you ask me, but I feel there is more to be done by the government. It's not about coming out as we speak, but also to sustain these particular acts.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But then what does this mean for Nigeria's economy and financial governance?
Yeah, it's a good prospect, because part of the problem or challenge that the foreign investors have is that when you have investment in the country, it's pretty difficult for failures of our system. And don't forget, Mr. President have actually gone the route of reform, saying that that is part of what we need to translate into a better future for our nation. Remember the task of the presidential task force on tax reform, the ease of doing business, and working on the security. Just recently, Mr. President had a rejig of the security apparatus. These are measures to actually instill confidence in the foreign investors to have secured and confident that when they transact business here, there will definitely be a way through of repatriating some of their funds to their country and be able to, meet certain obligation, even if it is lending on the part of the business owner to the nation.
Okay, so instrumental to these feats was the implementation of the Money Laundering Prevention Prohibition Act 2022 and the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. So when you look at these two acts, how would you describe them in terms of what they've been able to achieve?
Yeah, well, with what we have seen, with the improvement, I'm sure you know we had it as at 2011, before we now had the 2022. With this that we have seen, it speaks volume to say that there are certain improvement in the operation of some of the things that are in the law. But be it as it may, my concern is always sustainability of some of the things that we have as a country. We still have so much to do internally. When you talked about terrorism, we still have attack that is actually being carried out. And there are sponsors of some of these things. I still have a lacuna as part of this, celebrating this to say who are the culprits that are actually being, caught in the nets, doing certain things that is criminal with some of the acts that we have. It's not just enough to celebrate, but I feel that people that have been perpetrating this act, that the new reform or the new act has been able to nip at the bud, should be named. There should be name shame when it comes to some of these financial of this terrorism act. And that on its own, we send signal that we are more serious. We can celebrate it, but I feel there is more that is expected on the part of the government in identifying and actually, naming them so that people will know that it's no longer business as usual.
So that brings me to this next question. Nigeria is no more seen as one who finances terrorism, but then terrorism has not abated, if not become more virulent. In this last past weeks. So earlier on, you said kudos should be given to the Tinubu administration, but is this truly a win for the country?
Yeah, I would say it's not a complete win. If it is a complete win, I'm sure Mr. President won't have a rejig of the security architecture that we have by actually, exiting some of them and bringing in. Because if you ask me, I would have said possibly their handwork resulted into this that we have, but you cannot be doing good work and you'll be relieved of your duty, or there'll be a rejig in that particular area. But whatever it is, like I said earlier, a lot of us still know that we have a long way to go in fighting this attack that we have on daily basis. It moves from banditry, terrorism, kidnapping is still prevailing and predominantly in certain area. Remember, not too long, we heard about, some of these ISWAP giving a commitment of attacking on those states and even Kogi State. And a lot of us were worried that what God have they got to challenge even the security agency. And I think that's what necessitated, the relief of some of these security chiefs that Mr. President did, because he's a big God. And my fear is that most of the time when those people, pass this message even to the security agency, they still go ahead to attack the community that they claim to. And this has actually sent panic. So I feel that government still have a lot to do. And I always subscribe to the act that this atmosphere of granting amnesty to some of these terrorists or bandits should be stopped. They are killed by the sword, and I think that the decisive decision is also to excommunicate them out of circulation, reduce the number so that it will serve as deterrent for people to know that when you are caught in the act, whether as informant or as operators of this particular thing, you have no life to live. Just to face the consequence by losing your life. And that on its own, I believe, will send signal that the government meant business. Not just most of the time we hear about forgiving terrorists and being taken back into the system, which we have seen not working in favor of the populace that has actually been displaced.
So finally, looking at it holistically now, what other things do you think the Nigerian government can do to sustain the momentum and consolidate on this modest feat?
Yeah, well, if there's anything they have done that has actually taken us out of the grey list, one, I would say they should continue. Two, I feel that it's high time we start, knowing some of those people that are actually perpetrating this ill. Don't forget there was a time that we heard from UAE about some of the sponsors of some of these terrorists and the bandits. Up till today, we have not had a single name of the perpetrator of some of these things. It's always nice when we carry out investigation for people to be identified as sponsors. And let's get to the end of the matter to know that a lot of them are the justice that is melted on them, because economically they are actually depriving a common man that is supposed to be carrying out their usual business. I think government needs to start identifying and naming them for us to know that it's business. It's no longer business as usual, but they are serious about, curbing the act of terrorism in our country.
Thank you so much, Olusesan Okunade, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news tonight. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you very much, Yoleka, for having me.